Present.
Imana present. Trustee Checkeye.
Present.
Trustee Lesko, absent excused. Trustee Margolis.
Present.
Trustee Messernicht.
Present.
Trustee Verma.
Present.
Student Representative Matthew. Student Representative Klein.
Present.
We do pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to take a look at our agenda and if there's any modifications to the agenda. There's a couple that I would like to add right from the start, if I could. Let's change Wednesday to Thursday on the front. And then in our committee reports, where it says policy committee, change one of the Margolises, I don't care which one, but one of them to Let's Go. And then in the fundraising committee, add me in the fundraising committee. And I would like to add item 17B, matters for board action, which would be officers election. Any other comments to the agenda?
Trustee Stirring, I do have also, under correspondence in number 5, I have an additional certificate of appreciation that I will mention.
Date, okay.
Yes.
Five or six?
It's under 5.
Okay. Any other comments to the agenda? Entertain a motion to amend the agenda with these modifications.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor of adopting this agenda as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? The agenda is modified, it's been unanimously approved. Moving on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda in front of us, which consists of the approvals and claims of warrants, L517, and the approval of the regular meeting minutes of March 19, 2014. Comments to the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
It's been moved, it's been motion to approve.
Second.
It's been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? The consent agenda has been unanimously approved. Item number 5, correspondence. We have an April 14, 2014 letter. I will let you describe that, Julie.
Sure. On page 11, this is a thank you letter from Alejo Torres, Senior Outreach Manager from the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. This was in response to the program that we took part in, which was Money Smart Week, April 5th through the 12th. The library provided a Money Smart program for young children. We also were the catalyst and the home of all the books. Over 6,000 books were received into Novi Library and then dispersed through the TLN cooperative, through our transportation system and getting them around to all the other libraries in the TLN cooperative, as well as through RIDES, which is another transportation unit that we use to get them statewide. Over 100 libraries took part in Money Smart this week for the first time, for it being an initiative that was supported by the Library of Michigan. So I'm very proud that we were part of it. We housed the books and got volunteers to help us get everything packaged and out to all the libraries who participated. And I've already heard, I have a wrap-up meeting in a couple weeks, and I've heard that it sounds like they were very pleased and they want to continue it at such a high level and hopefully gain more libraries in the future.
Great.
The second B is Certificate of Appreciation, and I apologize that you don't have it in your packet, but I will pass it along to you. This is from the City of Novi's Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services, appreciating the Novi Public Library. A thank you for sponsoring the 2014 Mother-Son Dance Surf's Up, which was on March 21st, 2014. We donated a bag of library books for a young boy and for a parent as a raffle gifts for their event. So I'll pass this around to the members to see. And we thank Parks and Rec for including us in their programming.
Great, great. Item number 6, presentation. We have a National Library Week video.
Yes, I'm happy to present to you Christine Salvatore, our communications coordinator, and she's going to come up to the podium. Christine worked with SWAC to put together a National Library Week video. She'll talk a little bit about it. Go ahead, Christine.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Christine.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and share this video that I created with SWAC for National Library Week. So when I found out the theme for National Library Week, Lives Change at Your Library, I wanted to create something that shows how important libraries are to the community, especially the Novi Public Library. So working with SWAC, the Novi Cable Company, they did a wonderful job helping me film. They filmed it, and they did a wonderful job. And I had the opportunity to speak with high school students and library patrons about what they enjoy most from the library, what they utilize the most, and how it's impacted their life. So I will show you that video now.
Straight behind you. Or in front of you. I guess it is on your screen.
Is that too loud?
Wisdom begins in wonder. I've had the opportunity to explore the wonders of the Novi Public Library ever since I was in preschool. With such a diverse collection of books, it has enabled me to venture and discover different genres. The idea of trying out different books, new things, has really built my foundation that made me the curious kid I am today.
In high school, in college or high school, I never really focused on being at a library. I wouldn't be caught dead in a library. But since I've been out in Novi, the library has been such a beautiful opportunity for me. I've opened up to new books. I've actually excited to actually go to a public library. I can honestly say that I love the Novi Public Library. It's awesome, and I would send anybody else here. It's just a great place for education and learning.
When I moved here, when I was in 6th grade, when we came here, we walked in the library and we were so confused. It was way bigger than the library we had ever been in, and the people there were really, really nice, and it was all organized pretty well. And like they had the upstairs part for like being silent, and then they had the downstairs part for like if you wanted to study with your friends, which I thought was really cool. I think I utilize the most is probably the upstairs or the quiet rooms, and because the upstairs, I don't like to do my homework when a lot of people are talking because it helps me focus better, like when I get my homework done and stuff. And I think the books are also really good, and like they're organized well, because one time I did a paper on like, I don't even remember, and I was so lost, but like it made sense after I figured it out.
We moved to Novi almost 8 years ago, and the first place that we visited after the children's school was the Novi Public Library, and that was the best place to be around or hang in Novi. My children often register for the summer reading programs here. My daughter also volunteers, and they have one of the best reading programs here.
I remember the first day I stepped inside, and you look around and it was just amazing to see how many significant changes they had made and how students would be able to utilize the new facility in ways they never had before.
The library has always been a great source of solace and solitude when it comes to working on anything, and plus I have a vast majority of tangible material that I can go through at my disposal. It's just been a place where I've been able to do my work in peace. It's affected me so far as some of the stuff that I would pass by when I would get material for let's say a project, because I do graphic design. some inspiration would pass me by the minute I go back to like wherever my laptop is. There would be like something that would catch my eye, and that would inspire me to do like the next thing in a particular way. And I would even like rent out the book or like take out the book just to read it further.
The Novi Library also has a teen space where teenagers can go and kind of socialize with each other, get to know new people, get to learn new things. And on a personal level, I have picked up and learned and to love the game of ping pong, and is now I've included it in my favorite hobbies list.
I feel like the library has really impacted our life, and we come once a week. My kids really look forward to it. They love it. They pick a variety of books. They pick DVDs, and then their favorite part is going on the computer, which is always fun. It's full of wonderful programs that they enjoy. And I would say that the biggest impact the library has on us as a family is that excitement and love for reading, which they start to, have at a young age, and hopefully it'll carry them throughout life. So we're very lucky to have a library like Novi's library, and we're happy it's here.
The Novi Library has really had an immense positive impact on my life, and not just my life, but on the community as a whole, as we strive to achieve excellence.
Very nice.
So I'd like to give a special thanks to Christina and to Dave Reinhardt and his team at SWAC for putting this together. For Christina, taking the title of Lives Change at Your Library for our National Library Week theme and running with it and putting this together. So I understand that we'll be able to edit it a little bit and be able just to use it for longer than just National Library Week, and we'll be using it on our website and then hopefully submitting it for some marketing grants and possibly some awards. So, but I think Dave Reinhardt and the SWAC team, they're great to work with, and we appreciate them giving of their time to help us create some of this marketing and promotional material. So Christina, thank you so much for your time as well.
It was fun to make.
Thank you.
Yeah, like Julie said, that'll run on, probably for the next year on the cable company, cable channel. So it'll be constantly running.
But they'll take out those slides that have the dates on it, so it won't be date sensitive.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to make it, Christina?
Only a week and a half. Yeah. The toughest part was wasn't even that tough, was just kind of coordinating it. Getting in touch with the Novi High School principal and finding patrons that would want to be on camera. But they loved it, and they were great to work with.
Great. Very good, very nice. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Just lucky nobody was breaking out in song, otherwise we'd have to pay the music just like the Wrecking Crew guy did, remember?
Moving on to item number 7, public comment. This is an opportunity in our meeting where anybody from the public has an opportunity to present any issues or discussion to this board. So if there's anybody in the public that wants to make any comments, now is your chance to go to the podium. I don't see anybody rushing to the podium, so I'm going to move on to item number 8, which is the president's report, and that consists of the library's goals, which Julie is going to report on how we're doing satisfying the goals.
I am happy to do so. A couple things that I will point out to you. On page 13, towards the bottom in the red, I want to just make note that, and it's under the programming section where it's the largest section with numbers. The Coyote Brass Quintet, and it shows 110 attendees, and then following that is Duo Sonidos, which is 120. Those were attendance for the last 2 Listen at the Libraries that we hosted for this 2013-2014 series. This has been a fantastic program. It's been in partnership with the Chamber Music Society of Detroit, our friends of the Novi Library, and then other sponsors that included Evola Music, Nordstrom, Tom Holzer Ford, and Comerica Bank, excuse me. And We have had such a wonderful attendance and a following with Listen at the Library. This has been just a great partnership and the opportunity to bring different types of music to our community in a concert-type setting. So we understand from the Chamber Music Society of Detroit that we will be, again, on board with them, looking for a fall and winter program series again for 2014-15. And it's just been wonderful working with them and being able to bring something unique to our community. Next page, something to highlight would be, actually, you're going to go a couple pages to page 16. And at the bottom of that page, it shows Village Oaks project-based learning presentation. This was an opportunity to bring in a number of students. 180 students and parents came to the library during the day on a Monday morning from 10 to noon, and they provided their project-based learning program to the library and to their parents. The children actually were working on information about authors, researching authors and the books that authors write. And so it was a wonderful presentation. It gave the kids an opportunity to learn a little bit about presentation skills, the research that they used in order to present the information to their audience and to their other students, their other friends and parents, and it was another opportunity for us to be partners with our school district. On page 18 at the top, we have, if you look at the third one down, and it has to do with local history, I just want to point out that we're doing a photo call, and it's scheduled to take place on May 5th at the library. We're asking for residents to share photos and other information about Novi history to add to our local history room and our collections. So if there are people that have photos of history of Novi and they want to share them with us, if they have copies or they're willing for us to scan them and make a record of them, we'd like them to take part, and that'll be on May 5th. On page 19, we're getting ready. Next week, we'll be holding our On the Road program. I'm happy to report that it is sold out, and we'll be taking over 50 people up to the Rochester area to the Meadowbrook, both to Meadowbrook to see a play and to the museum that is up there. So this is a wonderful program that's put on by Margie Karp-Oper, our Assistant Director of Public Service, and our very special library volunteer, Kathy Crawford, and our County Commissioner.
Do you have any insurance for that going there?
Yes, everything, we make sure that all that is taken care of under our rider with the library.
Thank you.
At the bottom of page 19, I wanted to let you know that this is coming up. This is a decision that was made in our administration office, but we weren't offering weekend hours for our patrons to connect with us for meeting room rentals. And I'll be happy to report to you that beginning in July with the new fiscal year, we have worked our schedules a little differently in the admin office so that we can accommodate Saturday hours in our admin office and have someone from the admin staff available for people who are interested in seeking a meeting room. It's sometimes very difficult when it's business hours, Monday through Friday, when someone's renting and maybe they don't have the time during the week because they are working to come in and see the room and talk about the layout and things that they might be doing if they're renting a room. And by having this extra day on the weekend, we're providing that service. So that'll be happening in July. On page, and actually, that is it. Oh, wait, hold on. Yes, that is it through page 19. I'll be happy to entertain any questions if you have any.
Any questions to our director regarding our goals? Trustee Chekai?
Yes, going to the last comment on the admin hours on Saturdays.
Yes.
Just as a kind of follow-up from our recent budget discussions, will that be a no-cost, additional cost to the library?
It is a no-cost additional to the library. We're basically doing some schedule changing and rearranging in order to make that happen.
Very good, thank you.
Yes.
Other questions? Okay. Thank you, Julie.
You are welcome.
Moving on to the treasurer's report, item number 9. Trustee Chekai?
Yes, thank you. Just as a summary, at the last meeting, we went, the March meeting, we had approved the budget, and we had significant discussion on the 2014, 2015 budget. We also had some continuing discussion with respect to the quality of the presentation of the financial information or the lack of quality of that information. My understanding is that we have a meeting, the finance committee has a confirmed meeting with the city finance director.
Yes,
To go
we'll-
through our financial statements and go through the mindset of why we do what we do and how we can maybe do things a little differently.
Correct.
The meeting is set for May the 7th, I believe it's 7 o'clock.
That is correct, 7 o'clock.
That's a collective we,
Excuse me?
when you say that what we're doing, you're saying that's a collective we, including the city administration?
Well, it's more to, maybe I should say, maybe a fact finding, but to address our concerns as to the quality of the reporting, or the flow of the reporting, at least for me personally, or the understandability, if that is such a word.
Yes. The other thing that I've given a heads up to for Carl when he comes to the meeting is potentially talking about Walker Fund and some of that money in terms of investment, so I've let him know that that's a potential conversation. And also, I've asked him to look at potentially putting together a 5-year projection for us of financials and how he might, I know he doesn't have a crystal ball, but we've done some talking about tax revenue and where we might see that tax revenue in the next few years so that we can start to think about some future planning.
I think those are good points, but I would like to focus on the May 7th meeting as to the presentation of the financial information we have to date.
Okay.
And how we can make that more understandable to the reader and more accurate.
Okay.
We've had a lot of discussion up here and a lot of comments. And so I think it'll be a good education session to
Sure.
walk through and say, you know, why is this, what is this, how do we get this? And hopefully offer some suggestions to him as to how we'd like to see things, or how things can be presented differently. Conversely, he may have some of his own suggestions. So
Okay.
I'm not expecting we'll come out of that meeting with an absolute, but hopefully it'll be more than just a working session, and it will be well on our way, at least to be able to explain with a little bit more clarity and accuracy at the following meeting, you know, how our financials have been presented. With that being said, my only comment, because some same concerns and same questions that I've had, and I trust the same questions and concerns that Member Margolis has had, are still present. So without taking up the committee's time with that, I would say that based upon a 9-month performance, 9 months year-to-date through the March 31st financial statements as presented here, understand there are some payables outstanding and there are some accruals outstanding, but extrapolating where we are today and where we had budgeted for the balance of the year, it looks as we will hit or be favorable to our budget as presented. The dollar amount, I can do a scenario anywhere from 30,000 to 100,000. I don't know which is right, but I think it's fair to say that we won't be over budget, and so I'm hoping that when all is said and done, we'll be below that required allocation from our fund balance of 480,000. Hopefully we'll be something, you know, significantly shorter, at least 10% maybe better than that, but hopefully we'll have a better handle on that by the next meeting, at least by the 7th of May.
Right. I do have some good news for you. In terms of the state aid line, I just recently received the second check for state aid, and it came in at just over $16,000, which means we're looking at a $29,000 overall, so a $9,000 increase from what was budgeted. So that's good news. Yes, so what that tells me is that obviously state aid, we're doing a little better. I know that we were given some additional funding through the state this year, and we're actually seeing that, so that's great.
Julie, I told myself I would do this to you, but
Sure.
I can't resist.
Okay.
For example, under the property tax revenue, the activity in this past month of March,
Right.
approximately $1,262. Do you happen to know what that was?
No, I mean, I don't get any details as to what it amounts to. I don't.
I will stop
Sorry.
my question.
It just changes on their end. I get no detail, yeah.
And I did understand we were supposed to get detailed financial investment information on the funds in the quarterly that are not included in
I
here.
did not see
So,
anything yet.
Once again, you know, I don't want to kick the can down the road, but it is 2 weeks away. We've waited. I think our frustration has been well noted, and I think we're on our way to a positive resolution. So, enough said for me, Mr. Chair.
Just a couple comments. I mean, if it wasn't clear, that's really a finance committee meeting. It's not a board meeting. but
Correct.
Of course, all board members are welcome to attend any committee meeting that they want, but it's really a finance committee meeting. And I'm gonna throw out, well, either to the director of the committee or to the treasurer, whether if we're meeting at 7 o'clock with the city treasurer, do we want to meet a little bit earlier than that, just on behalf of ourselves? Or in terms of meeting together, or just going at 7 o'clock?
It was 2 weeks out, but I'm certainly amenable to that as a member of the finance committee.
And I'm available, so I can,
The best I could commit to would be 6:30.
Okay,
6:30, probably not a bad enough time.
just to get a few things
okay,
together.
I'll make a note that way, we
That
have the
way
room
we
ready.
can
Order
order the
pizza
library, right?
and-
Yes,
and-
mhm.
Does
It is
need
at the
a
library.
room or not?
It's the
Boardroom.
second, boardroom, it is the boardroom.
It's in the boardroom,
yes.
okay. Okay. That's all that I had. Trustee Margolis?
Yeah, in case the point hasn't been drilled home before, the frustration level just keeps getting worse and worse. Because either they're not hearing what we're saying, or they don't get it, or whatever. But in the last 2 months alone, there have been undisclosed changes to the tune of over $90,000. So it's hard to evaluate performance when there's such radical swings in the presentation. It's unacceptable. I don't know what else to say about it.
Last question, did we get a check on our cafe?
We have not received it yet. Normally, he has to the 15th, but there's a 5-day grace.
Okay, but he's current through March.
I believe he's current through March. I will have to double check.
Thank you.
Sure.
That's all, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, trustee Chicken. Item number 10, director's report. Back to
Okay.
you.
Great, thank you. So starting with the director's report, which is page 30. We had our Battle of the Books in March, and I included a photo of the winning team. And that team was called the Fiction Foretellers. So it was a wonderful event. This, for people who don't know what it is, it's 5th and 6th graders. They read 6 novels, usually during the winter months from December to March. They meet together in small teams of up to 6 students. They have a coach, and they read the books, and then they quiz each other on details of each story. And then there is a larger, we actually had 12 teams this year. All the teams come together, they answer questions, and they try to see which team can answer the most and get the most answers correct. So this has been going on for over 10 years now at the library. It's been a wonderful support. We usually welcome close to 100 people in attendance, family and students as well. So it was another great event for us. So I thank the city of Novi for hosting it for us here at the Civic Center, because it's such a big event that even our large meeting room can't hold everybody. So it's great that we have even a larger space available. And they were wonderful. And Trustee Margolis, thank you so much for attending on behalf of the board. Then we have just as an update, we have our read boxes are going to be installed. I don't have an exact date yet, but we are working with the Novi Department of Public Services, and this was due to a wonderful gift from the Rotary and supporting 2 additional boxes to go into our community, hopefully in early June. The locations will be ITC Park, and the second location will be at Rotary Park. And then we'll be working to get that. I'm currently soliciting some students, one from the high school and hopefully one from the Art Institute of Novi, to decorate the boxes this year and put their art flair to the boxes. So more details to come. I'll definitely let you know when we do a ribbon cutting or an unveiling of those boxes. Then I provided a lot of information. This was the end of March and early April was an opportunity for a number of staff to go to some conferences. Barb Rakowski from our IT department, she attended the Computers and Libraries Conference. Myself and 3 other librarians, we went to Indianapolis, and we had the opportunity to attend the Public Library Association Conference, which comes up every 2 years. And I just want to, again, thank the board for your support in giving us the opportunity to do this. This does give us an opportunity to network and learn I know I shared at the last meeting, I'm also with TLN looking at potential new catalog systems, ILS systems for our consortium, so there was an opportunity to talk with vendors. So it was definitely jam-packed from morning to night, and I asked them to give you some scenarios of information of what they learned while they were on the conference. So they gave you a lot of good information. We'll be using that and trying to work that in, some of their ideas, into the next couple of years. Page 36 is our proclamation for National Library Week, and this was given to us at the last council meeting. Trustee Stirring attended the meeting with me, and we received this from Mayor Gatt. So this was a great week for us to celebrate, and we had the opportunity to have author Bonnie Vareg at the library to share her memoir, which was called The Stovepipe, and we had a nice turnout with that as well as children's programming that we hosted throughout that week. Page 37. 38 and 39 is information I wanted you to have about where we're going with our Novi business community. Maureen Samari is a part-time librarian. We call her our business librarian, and she works specifically with the business community as well as the chamber, bringing in different mentors and different speakers to connect our business community and those wishing to start a business with the Novi Library. So on page 37 is some of the things she's been working on and been involved in, and then 38 and 39 are resources that she has put together to make available to our community. She's done a fantastic job, definitely has energy for it, and a nice connection with our business community, and continues to look for programming that we can bring in. On page 43 and page 45, those are reports from Margie Karp-Oper and Mary Ellen Morrow-Crone, Public Services Assistant Director and the Building Operations Assistant Director. And then we go into our statistics on page 46. We issued 355 cards, new library cards in March. We checked out 69,472 items this past month, which was 10,000 more than last month, so obviously a much busier month. March is reading month, so that does encourage the kids to get out and do some reading as well, so that's typically when we see a little bit of an increase. In terms of circulation, to date, we have 598,539 items that have been circulated out of the building so far. If you look at page 48, in terms of public workstations and computer logins, over 71,000 workstation logins have occurred. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. A total of 44,866 logins have occurred since the beginning of July. In terms of usage, our wireless is way exceeding last year. We're at 284,174 logins with our wireless, so that's definitely being well used. Lending laptops, we did have 2 checkouts in March, so we're doing very well there. If you look at page 49, this is our early literacy workstation usage, and again, it's doing very well. With just through March, we have 8,433 sessions, and that's our computers for our young children in the youth department. Page 50 is our technology training sessions, so you can see that a number of sessions occurred during March. In fact, 44. It's higher than most months in the past. And on page 51, those are our 3 online services. Freegal, that is our free and legal music that's downloadable. I'm happy to let you know that we will go from, we currently allow through our subscription 3 downloads a week for a patron, and beginning with our new fiscal year at no additional cost to our patrons or the library, we will go to 5 downloads per week. So we're adding more opportunity for music to be downloaded through the library beginning in the new year. Overdrive, this is the usage of our downloadable ebooks and reference sources. We're doing very well there. Total Overdrive, and that's consortium, and then Advantage Collection, which is our personal collection, we're averaging about 31,248 and over 900 users in the year. Zinio is our downloadable magazines, And another great year, another great month, higher than last, with 599 downloads of magazines, and these all are all full-text magazines, lots of different titles, and over 200 titles that patrons have access to. On page 52, that's our charging station usage. We did not have any usage for the month of March. But our meeting room rentals, again, doing very well with 1,344 attendees, 47 rentals from the library. And then on the final page, which is page 53, this is our library application, and as you can see, lots of usage in March. It went from 14,000 up to 21,000 for our library app and people using it, and it gives you the top 5 places that people went in the app, the highest top 5 in terms of usage. And that's all I have. I'm happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions for our director? Trustee Eberl.
Page 45, third paragraph. Received one proposal for installation of heated air curtain. Do you know the contractor who sent it?
I do not at this point, but we are,
How many
we usually try to get 3 before we make any decisions.
only one submitted?
One so far. We're still
So
soliciting them.
did we submit to some more people to submit the proposal?
We do, we have 3, we just haven't received them all yet. We have three people that we reached out to get information from. 1 has been received.
So when you said you received one,
Yes.
you don't give a date that by so-and-so date they should submit?
No, we don't. We ask it for a week or so, and we give them about a week's time in order to turn something in. We haven't received them yet.
When you send the proposal, you always say by such and such date you submit your
We
proposal.
don't do a formal written proposal.
How you send it?
We're just doing word of mouth in order to get the information. We reach out to the contractors.
Madam, that's not right to do that. How you will get without giving the specification to the contractor, how you will get the apple and oranges? You will be getting different quotes then. You have to write your specification.
We give
then
them all
submit
the same specifications.
by mouth.
But, well, actually, I'm pretty confident that they're in writing, but we don't put them out into a bid
No,
process.
I would like to know that.
Okay.
Proposal should be your specification to all the contractors the same. Then you can get the right proposal. Otherwise, you won't get the right proposal.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Trustee Margolis.
To lighten the mood a little bit, on page 31, one quote just caught my eye.
Sure.
Under the boomers in your library section, it says that patrons are growing older but are not old. I agree with that.
I do too. That was a direct quote from a program I attended.
This winter, we felt them.
I think everybody, I don't think it mattered about age.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. Moving on to item number 12 then. Friends of the Library.
They did not have a meeting. In fact, their first meeting was just this week, Wednesday. It was their first back. They usually take a couple months off during the winter. A lot of them travel down south. And this was just a getting back into the swing type meeting. They'll have their annual meeting in June, and they're starting to plan for some programming for the fall as well.
Okay. Historical Commission Report, item 13.
Yep, couple things I'd like to note. Page 54 and 55 is their report, which is submitted by John McGinnis. The Motor Cities Marker Project, that is moving forward, and I had the opportunity to attend the council meeting with Roy Prentice on Tuesday evening to share the information about the marker project. I know that I've given you information already in advance, and now council has given their blessing as well for it to continue to move forward. So now at this point, the boards have to be fabricated. That usually takes 4 to 6 weeks. So we're looking at early to midsummer for installation, and we'll be working with the city in order to make that happen. And then I'll also let you know if there's going to be some type of unveiling to those pieces as well. There are going to be 8 markers in the community total. And they're going to be located, 3 will be at Pavilion Shore Park, surrounded by Walled Lake. One is going to be located right outside and near the library because of the Novi special being inside the library. One is going to be at Four Corners. The other hasn't been decided where yet. I believe it's Grand River area because it's related to transportation, and Grand River being a long-standing route of transportation. Then the bridge over the railroad tracks and Tollgate Farms will be another location as well. Beautiful boards. If you have the opportunity and you'd like to see them full size, please stop by. We're going to be putting them out on display at the library. We just haven't done so yet, but I will make them available to you.
So before they actually go out?
Yes.
They'll be, okay,
Yeah,
great, thank you.
we'll make sure we'll put them out.
Great.
And we'll do some promotion ahead of time, like, for, get ready, here's what's coming, for the summer. Also, we are going to host, County Commissioner Kathy Crawford, who is also the chair of the Historical Commission, and Mr. Tom Laszlo at our May meeting. They're going to be here to talk about, a collection of items that were found when Pavilion Shore had gone through its renovation. A number of things were found in the ground and very unique historical type markers. He has put together a display box, actually a shadow box with some of the items that were found. So we're going to have a presentation for you at the board meeting in May on that. Just wanted to give you a heads up to that. And that's all I have.
And that's the collection that's to be donated to the library?
It was donated.
Oh, it has been.
It has been already, so
Okay.
yep, so we'll bring it to you. It's really cool.
I think if there's no further questions, we're going to move to item 14, student representatives report.
All right, to kick off the month, we had our TAB meeting where we talked about the summer reading program, and we had 10 teens show up for that meeting. And after that meeting, we had a handwriting analysis program where we were able to get our handwriting analyzed and see how it like reflects our personality. And so that was like really fun, and it had 15 students in attendance. And then we had our teen book club with 6 people. And to close off the month, we had our divergent initiation program with 7 teens attending.
And then Teen Space is continuing to do well with 40 teens per session. And our upcoming programs are the Teen Book Club on May 3rd, the College Writing Workshop on May 14th, and another TAB meeting on May 16th.
To add to that, our students will be making a presentation at the May meeting to talk about the year and what has been accomplished. So you will also have a presentation by Jessica and Z at that time.
Questions? Then we'll move on to our committee reports. I do not believe there are any committee reports tonight. Item 16, public comment. This is the second time in our meeting that we have an opportunity for members of the public to present something to this board. Is anybody from the public that wants to present anything to this board? Now's your opportunity to do that. Please approach the podium. I don't see anybody running down to the podium, so we're going to move on through our second public comment and deal with items number 17. We have 2 matters for board action tonight. Let's deal with the driver's license verification policy first.
This is a policy we're bringing to you. This is a new policy, and it comes up so that we are constantly keeping in check with employees who use the library van or might be using their vehicle and going out for work purposes, to run errands and things, deliveries and such. We want to make sure that the people that are doing that for us and under the library have a clean record and don't have any concerns on the record. And so this allows us to do that check on a periodic basis, just to be sure that everyone is in compliance in terms of vehicle. Yes.
Question, in the event that somebody is using either a library supplied vehicle or a personal vehicle being operated on behalf of library businesses, and they happen to commit a misdemeanor, whether it be a speeding ticket or a traffic violation or whatever, what is the personal accountability for the driver for resolving the payment of that ticket?
I've not had that question before, so I'd have to look into it and see. We haven't had any situations in the past, and I haven't had anything happen like that, but I will look into it because I don't have an answer at this time.
we may need to then include some amendment relative to operating the vehicle, you know, assuming that you have a clean record.
Right. I will look further into that and bring it back if I can, yes. So I'm just leaving this as a draft today. I'm not looking for approval tonight. Typically, I let you have an opportunity to read through it and,
Okay, trustee Checker.
yes.
Just, Julie, why is this coming up now? Has there been?
We have not had any
something you
issues,
saw at a
no.
seminar
It actually came up from, I know that the city has made some changes and made us aware in terms of their policies.
That was my next question.
Yes, so it's just following suit across, since we do so much together and making sure policies are.
So this is consistent with the city of Novi's policy?
We have looked at it, but we found that there was better language when we looked at other policies that fit our needs better in terms of the library. So it's really not the same. It comes from a mishmash of different policies that we felt was a better representation for us.
A couple comments that I had.
Sure.
And that is, I think it was written in a way that it applies to all employees. And not just employees that drive a library vehicle or drive their own vehicle for library business.
Okay,
And you might want to take a look at that, but
Okay.
in particular, it's the first, second, third, fourth paragraph. It says, all employees will be required to present his or her license on a yearly basis and/or through random checks. And then it kind of goes on talking about potential discipline. And was the intent this apply to all employees? Or was it just intended to apply to employees that might be driving their own vehicle or a library-owned vehicle?
you know, I'll have to check into that because a number of our employees are, there's a lot of them. So to say all, I mean, I think you could include everyone. Not everyone is ever going, will it relate to? But we have a number of them. So I don't want to say specific departments and then, and get narrowed down to that when it could just relate.
Wouldn't that imply that anybody that doesn't have a driver's license would not be an eligible employee?
That's what I'm getting at.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Or someone could certainly be an employee but not want to or be
Right.
eligible to drive.
Right,
I mean, it would, I mean, I was concerned that this was not intended, but possibly.
Possibly singling out.
If you don't have a driver's license, you can't be a library employee.
No, that is not the intent.
Okay.
Okay,
And
so I'll look at that so that
With
it's,
that in
yes,
mind, because I think there is a reading
Okay.
that says you have to have a driver's license.
very good, yes. No, and I know that we can actually employ young people who wouldn't even have a license yet, so, yes.
Certainly, I think you want to be able to employ people that don't have a driver's license.
Correct, okay.
Okay.
I will definitely look at that, thank you.
Any other?
Should it also be expanded to include volunteers?
We don't have any that are doing that, but I
They
will.
don't run errands on behalf of the library?
Typically not, but I will check into that. That's a good question. I don't know how our liability would fall with it, though. I believe our liability for volunteers is just on the building itself, like in the building. So
Any other-
I'll check into that. Okay.
Any other comments?
I did, I mean, I looked at this policy as a Part A and then a Part B, because you've obviously got it down as one line item and on board for matters for board action. Actually, probably shouldn't be matters for board action, since it's just a draft, right?
Well, I leave it there.
With board action, when we go through it,
Correct.
we won't
You
adopt
won't.
it tonight.
Right.
Usually that's where we.
Right.
But, so I think probably behooves us to talk about this other piece of it separately, because there is looks like a Part B to this policy. And I'm talking about the motor vehicle records check, which I'm assuming you meant to as a discussion point under this action item.
It's part of that item, and this is basically a release form, and I will.
Correct. So it's not.
I will raise, I think, the same concern that trustee Margolis raised in regard to, if I have no intention of driving a vehicle for the library or driving a library vehicle, do I have to sign this release? And I will add to that, clearly this would, in my opinion, be a valid release if it's signed, but it is my, kind of, not direct experience, but I almost thought that the Secretary of State has a specific form to make the request. Now, I don't remember if that form has to be signed by the person who is being investigated, or they just represent that they have a release and they're authorized to do it. But I know that there is a very specific form from the Secretary of State.
I will check into that.
In case if that's what they really have to sign to get the information. Because I take it
This
we're not
came up
doing that
because I
now.
believe there were, and it wasn't with the library, but there were some people unfortunately that were driving with some suspended license and stuff, which we didn't know. You know, because we do an initial check at the beginning when we hire someone to look at record and to look at background, and then we don't after that. So if something happens, then, you know, a year down, 2 years down the road, and someone has a suspended license and we don't know it, and they're not letting us know that, they really shouldn't be driving our vehicle. So we're making sure that they are
In addition to the
unveiling.
driver's license, shouldn't there also be a valid insurance policy that they're carrying?
That didn't come up, so I don't know. I'll have to check and
I
see.
mean, normally, you know, when you get your driver's license, you have to show proof of insurance. But a lot of people tend to let it lapse until the next time they need to renew, in which case now you don't have a secondary level of protection.
I will check.
And as a sort of a follow-up, ultimately, will this information or this policy, if adopted or when adopted, somehow be conveyed to the insurance company that's insuring the vehicle? I know that at our office, we do that, and that, you know, helps in terms of getting better insurance rates. When you have a policy like this, and you know, monitor it on an annual basis.
We've had
Insurance
other things change because of it, so I will check into it.
Yeah, that it
Yeah.
is a way to keep the insurance premiums down.
Could you help me out here, Julie? Where, is this policy supposed to state in it that we're requiring employees to then fill out this motor vehicle record check?
Yes, with this.
Did I miss it in here somewhere?
Oh, does it state in it? I don't believe it does.
That's why I'm bringing up
Okay,
these
so you're,
questions, right?
so that
Because-
they mesh together.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And then the second point I
Sure.
would make is, you know, I would like to see, but I'll defer to the legal guys here, but I would just like wording adding on here that just says, while under employment of the Novi Public Library.
Okay.
You know, look at all those great takeaways you have from
I
putting
do,
stuff in front
no,
of us.
that's why I bring these. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. This is a new one for us, so appreciate it. Thank you.
Julie, is the requirement for the social security number a mandatory requirement?
I believe it is, and I will double check. I mean, I know that when we put it together, we had looked at, you know, like I said, we had looked at a bunch of different ones, and it was obviously on there, and they're getting it from other forms, so that's why we put it on.
I mean, people have gotten, rightfully so, very sensitive
Right.
about sharing that information. And if I was, you know, driving a couple miles once in a while
Yeah,
on the
would that-
library's behalf, I'm not sure how comfortable I would be sharing
Sure.
that with you.
Okay, I will check and see on that, absolutely.
It's probably even a level elevated beyond comfort level in terms of strong privacy law.
Right.
In terms of what you do with those once you have.
Okay,
the Social Security.
okay.
Wait, was there somebody over here? Well, I was gonna say, that information would be in their employment file.
It is. We already received
Date
that.
of birth and.
Correct.
So it's kind of, I'm just curious, how many people actually are driving?
Our maintenance staff does, and then we have an outreach team, so people who are going to our nursing facilities and rehab facilities, and also the older adult care facilities that we have, retirement home complexes as well.
Yeah, but
So-
you also have conference attendees.
Yeah, we have staff who go, they're going out and getting stuff on work time sometimes to go for a program, and they're going to pick up things at a local store. So anything that's work-related, I think that's why we did this, just to make sure that if they're driving on work time, we want to make sure that they're in good standing.
What is going back to the insurance, what is the requirements of I take it our insurance carrier, it's the umbrella?
Right,
From
so I'll have,
the city of Novi, is the city of Novi self-insured?
I believe we are.
So, I mean, what is the standard of, can you find out, what is the
Sure.
parameters on when are they not covered?
Was the purpose of this policy to be compliant with
I think it's
insurance?
looking for the employee to be honest with us, to let us know if there's an issue, they shouldn't be driving. They need to be telling us if there's a problem. We don't want them then driving, we want to know about it so that either we have somebody else, we don't send them out. If they're obviously driving on a suspended license, for an example, they shouldn't be driving.
How frequently, I guess, if you have an employee who has got a clean record, and that person continues to be an employee for years and years and years,
Right.
are you asking them to do this on an annual basis?
I believe that's what it is, or that we can check, frequently enough to find out, are they back in good standing or not? Because again, we wouldn't want them out on the road doing that if.
Would you want to require them to let you know? when
That's what
there's a
I'm on,
change?
that's what I took from the policy, even when I read it, was asking them to be advocates to let us know as well that, this is going on, that they need to let us know that this has happened.
And I didn't read real carefully, is that in there as a requirement of them? If you lose your license, you are required to?
In the fifth paragraph, it refers to that, but it doesn't say what the sanction is.
Right.
Or it doesn't really give the time period in which the notification is.
So we'll look into it a little more. Thank you. I appreciate your feedback.
Came up with a few comments.
No, this is all good.
Hey, but not bad for a first reading, right?
That's why I do this. Especially with something new like this that we normally wouldn't be putting out there, but we think we might need to, then it makes sense. Did you have a?
Trustee Checker.
The concern always is, and I think the intent is wonderful, I think we should probably have it, but when we start obligating ourselves to do certain things, and we have the right to check their records and so forth, there will come upon a time where there will be an incident. And someone will make the argument, say, but for your lack of following up to check that driver's license, that person wouldn't have been on the road, they wouldn't have hit my kid, we wouldn't have this issue. So sometimes when we obligate ourselves, and some of these things in here are doing that. So that's why I was asking who is doing this. If this coming from the city's attorney, is this?
No, it's not. No, this came up because I had got an email and they were looking to, ask so that they're aware of these and to make a note to the employees that if you have an issue with, your record, we need to know about it. You shouldn't be driving, so.
I would just poll the audience here, and I'll start. I know from my employer's perspective, I travel on behalf of my employer. I have nothing like this.
Right.
That I'm obligated to provide
Well,
them
maybe
any
it's not,
information.
maybe it's something then that we don't want to
Well,
pursue.
I don't know how everybody else, I don't know if this
Yeah.
is.
In the University of Michigan, I used to drive the car and everything going to the construction project. Never, nobody asked me.
Right.
I was using University of Michigan.
So maybe it's too, maybe this is too much.
But I wonder, we are doing too much unnecessary.
Well, and it could be, if that's the feeling, I brought it because I thought maybe, with dealing, like I said, we've not had a situation, the library has not, but if we ever do, should we be obligated to know that that's going on, and that's where it came up. So if you're not comfortable, and
I think the question's been raised whether we ask for a voluntary program or a mandatory one. This, at face value, looks like a mandatory policy.
Okay.
Maybe we go and we don't have a mandatory policy, but we.
They have an obligation. They're gonna be on our business.
Yeah,
If they don't have a valid license, they should tell us.
Yeah.
And they don't have insurance, they should tell us.
And that could be just part of the rules of conduct.
So
would be
that-
Of the,
right.
in the employee handbook policy, general
Okay.
policies.
So maybe we'll look at it that way. Okay, and bring it back much later. Okay, I will look into
I'll
that.
certainly look at it again, but that was some of my.
Sure.
It puts the burden on the employee to disclose as opposed to
Because
the.
these things always happen,
On the,
you know,
but I would say in our office, we do have something like this where we periodically check.
you do, that's what I'm saying,
We do
that's
check.
what I'm saying, maybe it's commonplace,
In our office, we do, because we have a number of employees that are driving.
Thank you, I appreciate your feedback.
Item 17B, officer election. It's that time of the year where we have to elect new officers. A subcommittee was appointed at the last meeting, which consisted of myself and Craig Messerneck. And at this point, I would like to turn the floor over to Craig to discuss the nominating process and results, if you would, please.
Certainly. The subcommittee met to review the four board positions that we have to fill for the upcoming year. Just as a reminder, the guideline that we adhere to is that an individual is not allowed to serve more than 2 consecutive years in the same position. Considering that we reached unanimous agreement on a slate of candidates for the 4 positions, and our recommendations are as follows. For the secretary position, Ramesh Verma. For the treasurer position, we would ask that Larry Chekai, who has served 1 year, continue for a 2nd year in that position. Vice President, Dave Margolis. And for president, the current vice president, Willie Mena. All these folks have been serving on the library board and demonstrated the passion for promoting the library and providing support and guidance to the library. And we certainly feel they would all be very good in the positions we've nominated them for.
There are different ways of having this election. We can do it by the entire slate, or we can do it by position. And what I think I'm going to do is propose that we do it by slate, unless there's any director that doesn't want to do it that way. If any director doesn't want to do it that way, we can do it by office. But initially, if there's no objection, I'm going to propose that we vote as a slate. So if there's any objection, let me know, and then we'll do it office by office. I see
No objection.
No objection, okay, then at this point, there's, the committee has nominated the slate for the offices, which Willie Mena, president, David Margolis, vice president, Ramesh Verma, secretary, Larry Chekai, treasurer, and that would be, I think we have to make that, somebody has to make that officially a motion. We got a recommendation from
Doesn't
the
there have to be
committee.
acceptance first?
Well, that's true. Is there anybody nominated that doesn't want to accept? Yep.
I mean,
Yeah,
there was no direct conversation.
You're absolutely correct, you're absolutely correct.
But if nominated, I will accept.
Okay. As well, yes. All those nominated, if elected, will serve, okay. Good point, good point.
Given that, I move that we vote to accept the slate of officers as read.
As proposed.
As proposed.
Support.
Support. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? None?
No?
Unanimously approved.
So at this point, I'd like to take a moment to thank President Stirring for your 2 years, working with me a little closer for some items and for decision-making, and also for attending special events and being available to me for other things. You now, Trustee Mena, will move into that position, and you'll be on my speed dial, so. Thank you very much for your time, Trustee Stirring.
You're You're welcome, very welcome.
And these terms
My
run,
pleasure.
what's the year for these terms? Is it
They're
five-
yearly.
5-1? Or-
They-
It'll start May.
Start May,
Mhm.
yes,
It'll be
May.
the May meeting that it'll go into effect.
Yep.
Mhm. Yes.
Trustee Margolis.
I'd like to echo the sentiments that the director just said. I think that you've handled yourself in your position with dexterity, with firmness, with fairness, and I appreciate the job that you've done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've certainly enjoyed doing this for the past couple years and working with this board and the library staff and the director. I think that we really have a board, and I've said this probably 100 times, but we're a very diverse board for many reasons, but yet we really come together, I think, with a united purpose and a united goal here to benefit the library. And I'm really proud to serve with all these people on the board because I think we really work well together, notwithstanding our different interests, our different backgrounds. But I think that we have the camaraderie to come together to make the right decision. And so it's been a pleasure for me, and I really think we're very fortunate to have board members like we have, and it's made, being the president extremely easy.
I'd just like to echo David's comments. You've done a great job, Mark. You set a nice example.
Thank you.
For everybody.
Thank you. Good. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, gentlemen.